Welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show, and excited to be with you here on this Friday. Our guy Schlegs, he's on the brink of a epic voyage, if you will.
Yes, that's what we were calling it.
Yeah, what like as you're thinking about that, what's the preparation like to get yourself ready?
Right here, monsters. Some of these guys. I mean, I'd show you the house, but I had to move my computer around. I'm sitting at one of my. I have like 4 stools left, and I had to get a trailer, Bob. I had to get a 16.
You had to get the trailer. That's hey.
I had to get one. I thought I could do it, and then as you're doing stuff, it's like, listen, we're not doing it. We're not taking it. Like, we'll buy a new one. And then you start thinking about how much a new one would cost and like the other things, like, where can we use this? Like, oh, okay. Hell, I'll just take that to the armory. Hey, what are you going to do with this? Like, we could take that to the farm. Like, so trailer it is. And and I talked like last night, like you get down to it, like you forget that you got to put the garage fridge has to go in there, and then the washer and dryer. Then you're like, you're unhooking the dryer. Like, you don't think about this stuff. I'm like, dude, this is a gas dryer. I'm like, I don't know if there's a gas outlet in the basement of that one. Like, why don't we just sell these bad boys?
Yeah, I doubt you have a gas out. I'm fairly certain. Not too many houses have gas.
Well, we had one in Worthington. That was like, and so then this house down here, everybody has the option of gas or electric down here if you want it. And so that's what we got. And I'm taking it all apart. I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I'm taking pictures of stuff. So when I have to go back and reinstall, I know.
Remember how to do it.
I do. And I have to mark them, and it goes into house. There's a house album.
The Doomajig.
Now, I will say this. You have to have one box that has all of the bolts and the remotes and all of the things. It's one box. It has to go with you. You have to know where that is at all times, because if not, you'll be SOL.
See, I take the bolts, I'd put them in bags, and I would tape them to the product that I needed to reassemble. That was the remotes, though, that is a very critical step. Sometimes I would tape those to the TV, but those were hard to do. So we try to put them in a bag and get the little label maker on them and get that done.
I will say this, Bob. So I went to Home Depot and I got like the large, TV boxes, and I had some other boxes for the other TVs, but I had 2 large and an extra large. And the wrapping that they came in there and how you do it actually worked out perfectly. I mean, listen, I got this monster mirror, and I have like Art Tempur-Pedic, and I have a TV, and I had something else, and I wedged them all in there, and I slid TVs in there so it's all nice and packed. And I put another mattress in a mirror, packed another mattress and another mattress in a headboard, ratchet strapped it all nice and tight, stuck stuff in pillows. And I was up in there just crawling around, getting stuff. Man, I filled it, though. I did it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to raise the door on this one. That's going to be the question.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you this. When we moved my 5th year, we were all over the place, and we rented a house in St. Louis, then went to Miami and got a fully furnished place. We'd moved everything from Dallas to St. Louis. Since I was traded, they paid for move it there. Then I was in Detroit. And so then after the season, like, our lease was going to be up at our house in St. Louis, and time to pay the piper came where we had to go get everything out of there. Oh. So like you, Schlegs, this was before pods. This was 2010. And so we went there. It's, 3-bedroom, I guess a 4-bedroom ranch. They had put an addition on it with a big like master bedroom and everything. And we had all our stuff. I sublet it to one of the guys on the team, and I put all our stuff in the basement. I think I left the beds up and stuff, to tell you the truth. And he just slept and used the furniture, but all the boxes and stuff we put downstairs.
Yeah.
And we didn't even unpack half our stuff from Dallas. So we had to come get everything. And I was like, all right, I saw a 26-foot box truck. It's like a 3 or 4-bedroom house, like bedroom set should fit in it. Plus we had our Tahoe we were taking out there and thinking that's going to be good. TVs in the Tahoe, we had it all set up. So we were starting to put everything. My dad's really good at packing things. We had the slate from our pool table parts, everything else. Ironically, it still hasn't gotten put up since then, so we're still working on that. But I mean, my dad, this was 15 years ago. So he wanted to move more than he wanted than me, because he wanted me to get hurt. But like walking the 3 pads of slate up the ramp, and I'm watching it bow, thinking like that's probably 400 pounds plus him. I mean, who knows what that ramp is raised.
He's just like, oh
yeah, dude, it's crazy. And so he does all that. I get the fridges on. He packs that thing like Tetris. He's the best packer I've ever been around, and very thorough. So we get all, and we're about halfway through, and he looks at me and he looks at the rest of the stuff. He's like, "This ain't gonna work." I'm like, "Let's just see." He goes, "Well, it's Saturday. Pretty sure the U-Haul place isn't going to be open on Sunday. You're going to
Yep.
need to go down there." So then we went down there and got a 16-foot box truck. Drive that back. Because I had my brother-in-law Shane with us as well. So there's 3 guys, 3 drivers. We barely were getting everything in both of those and the Tahoe.
Yeah.
And the 126-footer my dad was driving, like one of the headlights was half out. I mean, it was ridiculous. I'll never forget pulling those things in here and thinking, like, pulled them into our condo because we hadn't maybe moved into our house, first house in Arlington yet. But it was the most exhaustive process. So you pack like up 80% of the stuff, and then we're just like sleeping on mattresses on the floor.
Yeah.
And then the next day, finish the packing and then pull on out of there. And we were driving from St. Louis, which is about 6 hours.
And that's a good drive too. That's not like
It's
you're
flat,
in the mountains of West
easy.
Virginia.
Oh, yeah, that's
you're
easy,
not going
easy
through
peasy.
Kentucky.
Yeah, easy peasy. Once you get out of St. Louis, the only thing you have to worry about is hitting some traffic in Indy. Like, that's about it. Maybe
That's
a little
facts.
smidge in Dayton, but it's easy. Like what you're doing now with that trailer, are you going to let anyone else drive the truck? Okay, so now you have officially locked yourself in to 12 hours of driving, because trailer driving on the highway, especially coming down those mountains in 77, is bumpy. And so I'm glad to see you locked in on that.
It's got to be me. It's got to be me. And I'm like, hey, Sam, you're my co-pilot. I'll have the dogs. And they got stuff in the back. And, you know, the good thing is that it's a one-day trip. I mean, the thing that you're most concerned, and her dad's flying up tonight. And like, so Steph will ride with a kid. He'll ride with a kid. But I want them to drive as much as they possibly can. They got to learn how to be able to do it. But, you know, it just times have changed and they got to learn how to drive. But I mean, a 12-hour drive, just like, oh, dude, yeah. I mean, wake up at, if we want to wake up at 6, you can wake up at 6, or you can wake up at 8. Like, you're still going to get there around 8 or 9. And I'm going to, again, as I've gotten older, I've gotten better. I joke with Steph all the time, like, oh, this is an hour project. Like, I got this, no problem. Psych. No, I'm like, listen, I know what this is. This is going to be a 13.5-hour drive. We're going to have to stop. Hunter's Tacoma only has like a 5-gallon tank in it.
Have you thought, Spikes, about just having him like reach out the side with the 5-gallon gas can, just filling it on the highway?
Just like on the deal. Kind of like pissing in a bottle.
Those refueling planes. It's like,
dude, that'd be amazing. I could do that. Sam, get out the deal. And he has like this thing. And he like hooks up like.
You see Tom Cruise in the latest Mission Impossible? If he's running along, flying on airplanes, I think you can get Sam with a harness. Just get him a weight belt and a ratchet strap, and then just throw him back there and let him get on the side, and he'll be able to get that gas can in the back.
Dude, if it wasn't for that trailer, he could just open up that little back of the Suburban.
The window,
you know what I mean? Just have it go out there and like suction cup to the side and just funnel just gallons of. That'd be amazing. We could do that.
I think that might be the answer to.
Might be a new thing.
To Hunter's. What's going to stink is he's going to Findlay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to that gas. I mean, that's like a tank of gas for him to get to Findlay then. I mean, that's not going to be cheap for you, big dog, as he's going back and forth with college.
That's okay. Charge it to winning.
Charge it to winning.
Charge it to winning.
At what point does the okay, here's the great question.
Yeah.
Does the winning credit card ever get maxed out?
No.
Endless supply and no limitless.
And no limit soldiers when it comes to the credit card. But no, like what we do is like you have X amount in your checking account, like you use that. So, hey man, if it's gone, like it's gone, bro. You know, and I'll have them do things for me like Faith. Faith will go run out, like, hey dad, like late last night, like Steph and I are like Steph's gas, and I'm still trying to get this stuff out of here. She's like, hey, I'm gonna go, you know, do you want some energy drink? She's like, she knows, and she'll, hey, here's my credit card. Fill up your gas can, bring me some Jeremiah's back, which is like soft serve and Italian ice.
Jeremiah,
like, it's what it is. It's like
that's some sort of illicit tobacco or like some sort of like a Jeremiah. I'm going to ask Beam about this because a Jeremiah sounds a lot like a Jeffrey to me. Jeffrey is a whole nother deal that I learned about from Get Him to the Greek. P. Diddy told me about the Jeffrey. So you know that the Jeffrey's legit.
Yeah, the Jeffrey's legit. Gets you off too. Out of a trial. Hey, here's a question though. The difference is like stuff's like, I'm going to be stuck in an 8-foot ceiling house for the rest of my life because I never want to move again, which I thought was very comical.
Wait, she said I'm going to be what?
I'm going to be stuck in an 8-foot ceiling house for the rest of my life. Because she's like, I don't ever want to move again. And you know what? I'll say this, like there is a difference between when you're playing or you're coaching and playing in the league or you're coaching in college or the pros and like they pay for your move. And my kids are like, why didn't we just get a mover like we did the last 2 times? Yeah, more than that, Bob. Times are tough. It's like 30 to 40. I'm just like, I was like, guys, you also got to remember, you got to pay tax on that. So, regardless of what it was, we still had to pay $12,000 in taxes. Like these pods were super inexpensive, staggered. And I'm like, yeah, here you go. Charge to win. A little sweat equity goes a long way, boys and girls. You want that gas money? Then, hey, let's go. Help out.
I love it, man. That's some good stuff right there, Schlegs. It's the move because
nothing's ever free. Nothing's ever free. Like, oh, we'll pay for your move. Oh, psych, you're getting taxed on it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that is true. But part of it is when they moved us in Dallas, the NFL paid for it. They got the bids, whatever. And it's like, I don't care. It's whatever they're going to pay. They moved our cars, shipped everything. I mean, they were packing up our junk drawer, Schlegs. Like we opened up a box, like, what is that? Half of it was
and
trash.
They pack you and they unpack you.
Yeah, which I didn't want them. They moved. I told them to put the boxes where they were. I wanted to take the stuff out. I didn't want to have them dealing with any of that nonsense or anything else.
But it's the making of the beds. Like the hardest part is when you, for everybody that's out there.
The Admiral told us about making your beds.
Well, it's the furniture.
By the way, do you know that the Make Your Bed Admiral, was the same guy who also was the point admiral in the Zero Dark 30 takedown of bin Laden?
No.
You got to watch American Manhunt. As soon as I heard his voice, I'm like, that's the guy. It was amazing.
American Man, another show that I have to watch. Put it in the group chat. We can talk about that.
You would love it. The American Manhunt. We watched, I watched one on the Zarnia, the Boston Bombers, the Zarnievs. And then I watched one on Osama bin Laden, which you will love, dude. It's 3 episodes, like an hour long a piece. And you'll forget a lot of the stuff that was in there. It was really stinking good. So did that. And then last night I watched the movie. I can't even remember what it was, Schlegs. It's with Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney. I guarantee you Pat's probably seen it because he's like 15 years old. What was his last movie that he did? It was, Anyone But You. I'm watching that. And my daughter McLean walks in and she sees maybe one scene from it. She's like, are you watching Anyone But You? I'm like, yeah, dude, this is like the 2020 version of 10 Things I Hate About You, another movie that I absolutely love. So Buckeyes, and it was really good. I like Glenn Powell. And she goes, how do you know about him? I go, he was Hangman in Top Gun. He was amazing. I'm like, I hated Sydney Sweeney in the first episode of White Lotus, but I really like them together in this. Nice little rom-com swag, poured a couple of tequilas, had a great night. What's better than that? Nothing. No. That's the answer.
Spicy Mark. Hey, the real thing is Spicy Mark's, guys, hidden gem.
Well, I'll tell you this, the great thing, I'll distill but I'll put infuse some jalapenos and put them in tequila, let them sit for a couple days, dump it out, strain it, and it's pretty good. But I'll tell you, I used to drink Casamigos, started getting a little expensive. So then I went from Casamigos to Terrasana, which is the rocks deal, and it's like $30-$35. They moved Casamigos up to 50. I'm like, Paco, I ain't paying that much for that. Like we're coming back down. So it was good. But we got a big show for you today. My former co-host of Morning Juice, Schlegs. It's actually the full 3-man weave coming back. Schlegs taking it back to like 2000.
Eiffel Tower.
Absolutely. Get that done for you. We're taking it all the way back to 2000. Excited about that with our guy, Brandon Beam. He's going to join the show. He's on now the host of the Buckeye Show on the Fan. See how his trip to Michigan went, what he's been looking at with the Buckeyes and everything else around college football, and his thoughts on the Jeremiah and if it is related to the Jeffrey coming up next. But first, attention parents and athletes, trusted by professional athletes and designed by NHL team dentists. Expert mouth guards are scientifically tested to help absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Export mouth guards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including a patented use of carbon fiber, custom fit to your own grill. They 3D print that bad boy in there for you, just for you, for more protection, better performance, max comfort, and clear communication so you can focus on your game, not on your gear. Do not take chances with your safety. Go visit exportguards.com/Bobby. You can save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. Brandon Beam coming up next.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
Welcome back in the program. And now Mr. Brandon Beam, he's running the big Bachelor scene.
Look at him, man. Look at him.
Hey, boys.
Running the Bachelor scene, Beam. I mean, Willie, Mayor, they're up in Michigan because you're working at nights now, so they just get to have a month-long vacation. I mean, how do we feel about that? I mean, do we feel like we've been cheated in life?
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. You know, they're having a great time. I'm hanging out at the radio station. It's all good, Bob. Good to see you. I just want to say, I don't know how you're able to do those ad reads. I mean, if I was a corporate sponsor, I would definitely invest in this show because I think Schleg's sold it pretty good. So
it's like interpretive dance, Beam.
The knockout punch and everything. But we're all good here. It's very weird. It's very quiet. I've been spending my times. I was just hearing you talk about the shows that you've been watching. I've been rewatching Game of Thrones.
Oh gosh,
which is not fun for anybody at all. The recent episode that I just watched was The Red Wedding, which I don't recommend for anybody. So that's what I've been.
Why is that? Is it provocative? Like, why? People die?
Yeah, I mean, nobody knows what it means, but it is provocative. It's just I wouldn't recommend it for anybody out there. But I've been having a good time doing it, especially with that episode. I mean, you know, leave a wolf to roam the pack, and all of a sudden everybody's going to be feeling pretty bad about themselves. And the Lannisters did a bad job about that, leaving Arya around.
Yeah,
let me ask you this, Beam. No, first off, Beam, you look like you're like 12 years old. You're amazing. I love you. So let's talk a little bit about your golf game before we get into the Buckeye stuff, because you know, when the family's away, Beam will play, and that's a great looking coffee mug that you have right there, vintage 2020. August, I remember, was it August 15th or August
17th?
17th.
Yeah. August 17th, 2020, Morning Juice started, coffee cups, merch. What a making show, like the show list, like what we're going to call segments on the whiteboard, drinking monsters. I remember I got you were in the shop that day. I wanted to work out, probably do some manual neck, you know, try to beef up that cylinder, but I obviously failed. Hey, so when they're gone, are you playing golf right now? Have you been playing?
I played this weekend. I actually played with one of our listeners. I had never met him in person, Chris. He had been messaging me for a couple of years.
Chris the golfer.
Not Chris the golfer. I think his last name's Wilson, and I played with a bunch of his buddies over at Khyber Run, just off of 62 out near Johnstown.
Yeah, dude, I haven't played Khyber Run in a hot minute.
It's a great place.
It is a great place.
Yeah, it's a fantastic place. So I played this weekend, but mostly I've just been worried about Theo. And just, I mean, because, you know, I'm out here. I'm by myself. So we go for a nice walk early in the morning before it gets to 200 degrees, and then I just kind of hang out the rest of the day. That's what I do.
So what you took Theo back, was that at your request or Meredith's request?
So there was an ultimatum that was made on my final day up there. It was, and I said, well, why don't you just keep Theo up here? He loves it, you know, and he's a big 100-pound pit bull mix. If you don't know him, he's right back here somewhere. Anyways, she goes, well, you can either take Theo back or you can take Willie back. And I said, I'll take Theo. I said, I'll take the dog. You take the 2-year-old.
Wow. That's amazing right there, Beam, to hear that.
You know, I'm not going to say, like, we all love children. They're a blessing.
They are.
So when dad gets a little bit of time by himself to be able to go play Khyber Run and stuff like that, like, it's better for mom to have him. So now you get a little bit of downtime. You and the dog can stay there. It's okay. Dad can run out, do some errands, get the house prepared. Make sure you got some of that list done, but you also have time to do some of the things that you would be able to, you know, that you want to enjoy doing.
Exactly. The house I don't think has ever been cleaner, actually. I'm very excited to report that we have a life-size, like, Buzz Lightyear action figure because he's super into Toy Story. And that thing hasn't moved for 2 weeks. I don't know what it does when I leave the house. You know, I'm sure him and Woody are running around doing all kinds of shenanigans. But, Yeah, it has not moved in 2 weeks, and it has not been thrown into a table, and it has not scared Theo or shattered our eardrums for quite a while, which is very nice.
That's amazing, Beam. As you sit here and you're trying to figure out everything to do, what's going on, you got this free time, and you're hanging out with Theo. Willie's up there enjoying the cold, cold water that is. How was your diving into that cold Lake Michigan water? It is Lake Michigan, correct? Or is it?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it was Lake Michigan. So I've told this to you guys before. I make it a point every year when we go up there that I have to get fully submerged into Lake Michigan. So I did it probably the first week of June is when I decided to get in, and the water temperature that day was 49.5 degrees, which was rather chilly. Meredith got in a couple of days later on my last day there, so she did the full submersion. And then yesterday I got a video where Willie wanted to go to a park and hang out, and then he threw a fit and he was like, no, I want to go to the big water. That's what I want to do. I want to go to the big water. So she took him there, and he was in like sweatpants and a t-shirt. And then he decided that he wanted to go for a swim. And so he fully submerged himself yesterday, even nobody was expecting that, I guess. So he had a great time up there. But yeah, it was a nice little cold immersion, cold plunge for sure, where it was not very warm at all. I stayed in for about 3 minutes. It was the best cup of coffee that you could possibly get. I felt awesome afterwards, but I didn't want to do it again.
Hey, let me ask you this. So you're running the Buckeye show. Now you get to talk nothing but Buckeyes the entire time.
Yep.
And I know the show goes on, like sometimes it's long, but now it's hockey's over. So like you get the full time. What are you kind of most excited? Because like this is the last week of kind of like phase 1, phase 2 of the summer. I don't know how many phases they got. So maybe phase 2, and then they go into like a phase 3. It's the last 3 weeks before camp. What are you hearing? What are you most excited about right now for the Buckeyes wrapping up this part of their strength conditioning program, heading into that July 4th, weekend, moving into that last little, kick before you go into camp? How are you feeling about the Buckeyes right now?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, Schlegs. Thanks for asking. I think it's very important for coaches to get away at this point in time. I mean, you've experienced it, Bob. You're over there. You know that. These guys have been grinding. It seems like it's been a really quick off season. You play all the way until January 20th, and then all of a sudden, you're into winter workouts, then you're into spring ball. So I think it's nice that they get some time away, go hang out with the family, disconnect as much as you possibly can. I know that's not a reality for college coaches nowadays, where they can't just unplug their phone for a couple of days because, I know it's the dead period, but you still got recruiting news and NIL stuff going on with the house settlement. But I'm most looking forward to camp because I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel like there's a lot of spots where there's a lot of competition on the table. I mean, what was there? 8 guys drafted off of this defense, plenty of guys on the offense that was drafted as well. We got a quarterback competition going on. You have the best wide receiver room in college football. You got 2 new running backs who we're excited to see. Not an entirely new offensive line. We know the guys up there on the offensive line, but you do have some spots up for competition. So I feel like this camp that we're looking forward to at the end of July, I'm excited about the competition that's going on. And I know that you guys have been in that room and you have done it before, but I think early and often we're going to see a very fever-pitched Ohio State camp because there's a limited spot up for grabs. There are multiple opportunities to be a backup or get some spot time in. And I think that is going to be the basically pervading factor in the Ohio State camp this season is just going to be the competition overall, really across the board, which is something we haven't seen in a long time.
So, I mean, you work a lot with, whether it's Biddle, Austin's on there a ton, DeVere's on there. I know Berm stopped in. You guys did a little 3-man booth with Berm, and we talked to Berm, had him on here, Positive Berm, as we call him now, because he got another national title. But what was his feel and his sense of kind of recruiting, of how it had gone and everything else? I mean, I know that, 3 big official visit weekends, their OVs coming through, a lot of guys, maybe not a ton of commitments. Was he concerned? Was he optimistic? Where was kind of his head at?
Yeah, he was kind of neutral, Berm, when we talked to him because it was before the big official visit weekend last weekend, and he just said to me, he was like, listen, by the end of June, like your big time 4 or 5 star commits will likely make their commitments, and then you'll see what happens. But I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I mean, Ohio State recruiting is in a good spot, even though maybe social media doesn't tend to think so. I know we just got a commitment a couple of days ago out of a 3-star offensive lineman, which was exciting to see. Like, Ohio State's always been good recruiting. All right. Like, trust their tactics and the way that they're doing. It's not USC the way that they're operating right now. They're not throwing loads of cash onto the table. But I think, at the end of the day, their strategy prevails most of the time.
Why do you think it is that everybody looks at these recruiting like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like, hey, we got to be number one every single year? Obviously, you got to win with dudes, but there's so much. I mean, like, you're basing this off of people that really have never, how I view it, right? You got people are getting these ratings. I mean, honestly, Bob, like, this is real. You're basing this off people that never have played a game, that really have never been in a front office of any type, scouting whatsoever. They watch Huddle, right? I got a bunch of beams out there rating a high school prospect playing against either good or maybe even subpar competition. They have some type of, standard qualification for height and size, and you go to a camp and this guy ran better than that guy, and like probably don't take into account a lot of things that coaches are looking for. And then all of a sudden, boom, here's the recruiting rankings. And why do people just go away from the fact, like, what Ohio State has consistently done in these, in their classes, and not only like at the end of the season? I mean, there's, if I remember, this was back a long time ago, Bob. It was like all the teams of the last decade that have won 10 games every year, and like there was one. It was Ohio. I think it might have been 2. It was like a bit Ohio State and Boise. Or it was some crazy figure like that. But I just don't get why everybody is so enamored with the recruiting. It's one thing to be in the top 5. It's another thing if they're outside of that and they're like in the top, 20, 10 to 20. Like, now there's room for concern. But why is that? Being like, I'm just talking from a normal fan's perspective. Why is that?
I think right now, Schlegs, there's not a whole lot to talk about with the guys in the roster, because it's pretty quiet on that front. So we need something to complain about, which is recruiting.
Why?
I don't know. It's a great question.
Why do they have to complain about it?
Just because we're never happy. You know that. Ohio State fans are never happy with anything. And we had the argument when Ohio State won the national championship. You did it. You won the best prize in the land. All right. You won on an unmatched 4-game winning streak. And it was like, well, would you rather beat Michigan or win a national championship? I'm like, well, you just did the hardest thing that any team in college football could do. And now we're here in June needing something to talk about. So I'm with you. I understand it totally.
Just keep talking about the bathrooms, because I'm with you. Like, I understand that stuff. Talk about the atmosphere. Talk about the bathrooms, Talk about the Jumbotron and the surround sound.
You had such a great time in the bathroom.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that was good, Beam. Hey, we're going to take a quick break and come back. We got like a couple more minutes with you, Beam, if you've got it. Stay tuned. Since you brought up the bathrooms and stuff, Beam, what was your kind of take on the South Stands renovation with the new suites down there and everything that's ultimately going to be going on within the stadium? I know a lot of fans wanted bathrooms and Jumbotron and stuff like that first, but the reality is those don't really generate revenue at this point. I think they're in a position where they're trying to find some dollars in the couch cushions.
Yeah, absolutely they are, Bob. I think it's a good point. I think the scoreboards and the bathrooms, they'll come. I like the way that Ross has really kind of attacked this offseason. I think he's got in front of a lot of different things so far this year. And I was doing a show with Biddle earlier this week, and Tim May, if you catch my drift, and it was both of these guys said unprompted, like, it's the perfect athletic director for the perfect time right now. This is the way that college athletics are going. So I think it's a good thing. Again, I don't know how much those tickets are going to cost in the South Stands. It probably won't give you the best viewing, options. You guys have been down in that field enough, but if it's something that you're not taking capacity out of the horseshoe and you're able to make dollars and cents off of that without really impacting the game day atmosphere, I think it's a pretty good thing. I don't know how they're going to attack like a full horseshoe renovation. I don't know what their plans are for that, but at the same time, I feel like it's going to be incrementally. We'll just see a slow progress towards kind of rebuilding it without having to do it like what Florida State did, last year, where we saw their whole stadium basically as a construction site with no capacity in the crowd. So I think that's something that Ross wants to avoid. I think you're going to see year in, year out projects at Ohio Stadium over the course of the next 5-10 years, however long it's going to be. But it's definitely something that needs to be addressed. I mean, when we were doing the show together, I've talked about that a lot, people talking about crumbling walkways, and Schleg's, your story about the bathroom and how it takes forever to get there. So boost the amenities for sure. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I would think that that's on the future planning board for them with a whiteboard and a monster in hand for sure.
Let's go over this house settlement question.
Mm-hmm.
Does this cap and the new structure of the NIL deals help or hurt in Ohio State?
I think it helps. I think everybody's going to be on the same ground. And I know that you guys have talked about, the Miami, Wisconsin kind of lawsuit that's going on there. I'm fascinated to see how that works itself out. But I think everybody has a dollar amount. And that's not to say that, Ohio State's going to be hamstrung by the 20.5 or 18.5, I think is what Ross talked about being the number this year for Ohio State. Whatever the percentage is going to be, to football or men's basketball, women's basketball, and women's volleyball, kind of the four sports that are going to get the lion's share of the house settlement money that is going to go directly from the athletic department into the coffers of those athletic programs. But I think everybody's at least on a little bit of a level playing field now, which you guys know that hasn't been the case for years. Like ever since NIL kicked in, it's kind of been the Wild West, and we've seen it prevail already with Ohio State. They didn't jump in on it like Texas A&M did the first year, crazy and spending all those dollars. And if you go back and look at that recruiting class, like I don't know how many of those guys are still at Texas A&M, how many left in the first year of the transfer portal. It is a little crazy right now, but again, I have full faith in Ross Bjork and the athletic department over at Ohio State that they've got a really nice tight grip on things to see what's happening in the future.
Well, Beam, we appreciate the time, sir. Thank you for joining us. Have a great show tonight and have yourself a great weekend.
Yeah, you too, boys. Hey, by the way, Bob, Espolón, if you're looking for a nice cheap tequila that tastes well, I know you said you moved away from Casamigos and you're on the Terrasana. Espolón, every bartender that I know uses that. So give that a try. I
have some of that as well, Beam. I appreciate the recommendation. Last, before you go, Schleg's talked about Steph getting him a Jeremiah. Ooh. And I said, is that tangentially related to the Jeffrey? Nobody's afraid of a bloke named Jeremiah down the street. That's just a nice guy who lives down the street for you. I don't know what a Jeremiah is. I know what a Jeffrey is. So maybe a distant cousin, Schleg's. What if it's Diddy, like in the movie, giving it to you? Should you then be afraid? I say you just sign up for it. There you go. There you go. Why not? Lean on in. Beam, we appreciate it, sir. You have a great weekend. You too, boys. Thanks for the time. See you, brother. Later. Brandon Beam, one of the best, the host of the Buckeye Show on the Fan. You hear him every night from 6 to 8. I want to tell you about our friends over at Backer Buckeye Gear. It's bckr.com. Go check it out. Founded to make better quality fan gear. I've got the products. They're better than the stuff you're going to find anywhere else, from the rain gear, the cold gear, the windbreakers, the hats. They're all the premium quality products that you like. They've got all the features, the doodads, the whatchamacallit Schlegs. All of those things are there. They feel good. They look good. And a portion of the proceeds goes back to the Ohio State student athletes. And when you use promo code all caps Bobby, BOBBY at checkout, you get free expedited shipping. They're great for summer gifts. They're great for winter gifts, back to school, whatever it is. If you're late on Father's Day, don't be afraid to grab that. Again, that's Backer, bckr.com for that premium Buckeye gear. We got our headlines coming up next.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, Every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks, we build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lakespur Marketing, the proof is in our partners.
Our headlines are brought to you by our friends over at Lakespur Marketing. Lakespur Marketing is a full-service ad agency built on the three things you love: trust, strategy, performance. Lakespur, their team shields you, Schlegs, from the unwanted outside noise, the cold callers, all the stuff that you don't want to have to take care of. They do that and allow you to run your business. They'll help you grow it. They let you run it. They've got the experience you need with over 100 combined years of experience. Lakespur Marketing eliminates waste and delivers on budget. They don't chase clicks. They build partnerships. Lakespur Marketing, the proof is in their partners. All right, we touched a little bit on Jeremy Birmingham there, talking with Beam. It was about last weekend, so it's been a week, and everybody's kind of waiting. And Beam said, yeah, they had a tackle that committed. And usually after kind of the official visits, everybody gets like super worried, like, hey, where's the booms? Where are the booms? Where are the booms? On recapping the weekend of everything. And there hasn't been that positivity yet, Schlegs. There hasn't been this initial groundswell of commits. And so, people can get a little nervous in Buckeye Nation. They can get a little bit worried. You can throw that up, Pat, at any time about everything that's going on. And I know that you say recruiting, like, I think on the margins, it doesn't matter. When you look at it, if you're always in the top 5 in recruiting, those teams are generally always in the top 5 to top 10 in the country on a consistent basis. But the lack of commitments right now, I mean, Burma's saying do not be concerned with it, and he's just tied in with this, so I wouldn't be worried.
Yeah, they had a part of it is proximity, part of it is where is the guy from? I think there was a 4-star offensive tackle, maybe interior lineman, I don't know, committed to SMU over Ohio State. Like, man, why would a guy ever go to SMU over Ohio State? Well, he's from Flower Mound. So it's like, that's in Dallas. That's the Dallas area. So makes sense. The real question down there would be like, why is he going to SMU over TCU nowadays? Like, that's the biggest thing. How is SMU making this come up? And where's TCU in the mix? Part of it is proximity. Part of it is relationships. Part of it is where they have family and they want to come to Ohio State. Part of it is like you have Witten, who's a linebacker from Dallas. Why would he want to come up here? Well, his dad was in the league. He understands coaching. He's like, hey, it's not bad to go away, like being close to home and going to a Texas or an A&M. It doesn't necessarily have to be that I'm in the state. My parents can afford to go, and that's where I could get great coaching, and I have a great rapport with my linebacker coach and James Laurinaitis, and that's the draw. Everybody's going to have their reason. I think it's something to watch, but not something to complain about. And,
CJ, or not CJ, that's their older son, Cooper is only going to be a junior. So you're seeing those guys aren't going to commit right away. They can, but a lot of times they want to take their visits. And from what I've been told, the way that they handle, like a lot of these guys, they go on all their visits, they come back, they talk about their family through the 4th of July, and then ultimately, make their decision. A lot of times that first week and second week after the 4th, guys want to get it done with before the season. So then they make that decision. So the fact that, hey, you've had 3 weeks of OVs, like those guys went to a lot of places. You come back home, you relax, hang out with your family, start working with your high school team consistently. And then at some point you sit down and take the time to ultimately make that decision. And I'm guessing that's what, they've been working on. That's what they're going to try to do. And so right now it's not the biggest concern because a lot of those guys, like they took 3, 4, 5 visits. And so they want to digest them.
The hardest thing is like, the coaches, right? Like once you've made your first impression, what then do you say like in these conversations? Because you're constantly talking to them. You know what I mean, Bob? It's just like
get to know them.
I know but like I look at like kind of Hunter's recruitment in his talk with his baseball coach, and it's honestly more like what's going on in your life than anything else. And it's about baseball. So I can understand some of those things, but there's really, once they've gotten here, there's really nothing else that you could put on the table to say like, to make it more enticing. I mean, the one thing that I will say is that once you've met our guys and our coaching staff, you're either going to want to be about it or you're not. And that's why I do appreciate, like on that Friday when they brought them all in, that they got to see a team workout and they got to be around the guys. And that's where it's, yes, you have to get the bona fide dudes, but you got to get the right bona fide dudes that love everything that is to be a Buckeye. And what we've seen too, I remember this was a big thing, Bob, I don't know, recently, and it was, do they really know what it means to be a Buckeye? And I would say that they do. Like the guys that are on our team, they're not all from Ohio. I think we're recruiting Ohio better, the right guys in Ohio. This extended, scholarship limit can allow you probably to get some more of those in-state developmental guys, especially on the offensive defensive line. But you want guys that want to be here and understand what it is, because once you get here and you see what makes Ohio State in that regard, they drink the Kool-Aid. And just like me, I'm not from the great state of Ohio, but I am an Ohioan, and like that's what it is. And I bleed scarlet and gray, much like a lot of our other guys. James wasn't here.
He wasn't, and we'll tell you in Tailgate Talk coming up next, Schlegs, why Ohio is the best.
Yeah.
He's a celebrity comedian. Let's dive into that next. All right, welcome back in to the Bobby Carpenter Show. And as always, if you're liking or watching this, please like, subscribe, leave your questions or comments. We love our Tailgate Talk where we get to answer your questions and comments. Today, Schlegs, I want to kind of dive in, however, a little bit more on one of the famed comedians, Bert Kreischer, of his comments on the state of Ohio. Why he thinks Ohio is the best state.
I think Ohio is the greatest state in the union. And I argue that because I've traveled everywhere. It's topography is gorgeous. It is the perfect political place to be, where they get your personality, but they welcome everyone, but they're not lunatics. And you get weather, you get on the water. You've got literally no state has the big cities that Ohio has. They've got big cities that are like I think it's the best state in the union, in my opinion.
The Erie Coast, man. It's the forgotten coastline in America.
I honest to God think that might be the first time I've ever heard anyone say Ohio's the best.
Yeah,
Dude, Ohio is the best state in the union. I'm telling you, it is. But it's gorgeous. But Ohio's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. Go to Butler, Ohio.
Is
Look
this
at
a
the rolling hills. No, I swear to God.
When they dropped in their Schlegs, is this a bit? That's when I almost fell out of my stinking chair. Listen to that. But my dad always said it's a high ceiling, low floor weather state, or a high floor, low ceiling weather state. And pretty darn funny. But I think there is some truth to it. It's got a little bit of everything, and it's got some great ball, and it's got some Buckeyes.
I tell you what, I mean, yeah, I've always said this to people, like, well, tell me about Columbus, Ohio. I've always said that Columbus, Ohio it's a big city that has a small town feel. You can get really anywhere you want to go. Traffic's not terrible. If you think it is, go to Dallas. Okay. Go to Jackson. Like it's terrible. And like even Jacksonville, it's not a huge city, but it is big in landmass. It's kind of like Oklahoma City. It just takes forever to get anywhere. And if there's any type of traffic, like forget it. And if you like Texas, big city, Dallas, Fort Worth, like it is enormous. And you have to pay $15 just to go 30 minutes because of all the toll roads, consequently, that Texas doesn't own. It's terrible. I think they're actually foreign owned. That's even worse. So, but there's great people there, and we're moving back. And it's like all the different connections, all the different people like excited to have you back. Not that I'm a Buckeye. It's just I'm talking like regular friends that have known us for a long time. Yeah. It's just it is a great place. And that's why you see a lot of former players that are not from there that end up coming back and staying there and raising their families in Central Ohio. It is a great place, and it is beautiful. Like that Southeast Ohio aspect and even Northeast Ohio, man, like it is a beautiful place.
It really is. So go check it out. Some comments too from Wednesday's show, Schlegs. So we're talking about donuts and stuff. The pumpkin donuts are the bomb, Schlegs.
They are.
Big fan of that. And then because AJ doesn't put a lot of condiments on anything, we were talking about salsa and everything. He goes, I put salsa on eggs. I put sriracha on about everything. I put some salsa on eggs every now and then. But if I do it, I'm going to make some avocado. I'll put some avocado in there, some onions, some peppers. Make it almost like an egg burrito style deal to be able to get that done as well. But that's it for this edition of Tailgate Talk, brought to you by our friends at Real Truck. Coming up, we wrap the show with our Dude of the Week. Our dude of the week, or at least my dude of the week this week, Shakes. I don't know who you have.
Same guy.
Oh, you're just gonna steal mine. So, Jim Trussell. Last week we all went over to his house. Was that this week?
It was the 17th. It was last week.
Yeah, it was last week. But I will say this. So then I asked him to do a very special video for me for a friend of mine, and he replies back, "Yeah, I can get that done. I'm sorry, it took a little bit of a while." His lovely wife Ellen had broke her wrist. She was in surgery, on Monday. But on Tuesday, so he couldn't do some of the events that he committed to Monday. On Tuesday, he's back out at 2nd and 7 camp with Ryan Miller, talking to the folks, just being a guy. He's pretty remarkable in being able to get all that done. And so I appreciate the job he does, the commitment, the sacrifice he has, and especially his wife as well. She's hopefully getting better. I was like, we'll keep her in our prayers. Hopefully the surgery went well, and I believe that it did. So that was a win as well for us. But yeah, Buckeyes, Jim Trussell, our dude of the week. You good with that, Schlegs?
Hey, 100%. I'll just add this. I'm not happy that she broke her wrist, but it gives me a chance to beat her in golf.
Oh my gosh.
You're 100% right, Bob. Truss is that type of guy. Like, obviously the things that we're going to try to do in the schools to promote physical, literacy and like just getting kids active. I mean, the man shows up to Ryan Miller's 2nd and 7 again. That's been over 20 years, tackling literacy. The things that he cares about the young people of our state. He serves and he gives his time freely. And you just have a huge amount of admiration for that type of dude.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for this week's show. We'll get back with you next week for another big week of the Bobby Carpenter Show.